All right. So, yeah, so Marcia writes, I see you're out of the closet, Charlie. Yeah, I have, I have come out of the closet. This afternoon, I was in the closet, actually doing our session because they were sanding our floors, the hallway, and it was so noisy. I couldn't hear in the kitchen. I couldn't hear from our bedroom. So I had to go into a closet to cut the noise down. And it actually worked well. So cute comment, Marcia. I like it. Now, Joan, let's hear what your question is.
Well, it's just a comment. I noticed that in the Register Guardian, it looks like it was back on March 8th, so it's been a while, but they ran an article about food consumption. The standard American diet is pushing global warming past its limit.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up because I mentioned the class this afternoon that it's rare that I now give a talk either at the medical school or anywhere else that I don't bring up this issue of climate change and the warming of our environment. And what we choose to eat is such an important concept. It provides as much problems for the future warming of our planet as all the transportation in our country. And a lot of people still don't realize that. They think it's just cars and that sort of thing. But what we choose to eat for our food has a major impact. So thanks for bringing that up.
And we have a whole class dedicated to that later on.
So there are a couple new faces here, a couple new names. We'd love to hear how you found out about the class and maybe what you hope to get out of it, or what you're, were you referred by a friend? Did a doctor actually refer you, or a physician assistant or nurse practitioner? We kind of are just curious about that. So just unmute and say hello. It's not a have to. We're just kind of curious.
Hi, I'm Deborah Ivy, and I've been following sort of after the fact. I've been not coming on live usually, but watching the classes, and thank you for giving me the links and instructions online. And since May of 2020, when I went to True North, I've been, practicing, not very strictly, but much to my increased health and energy. And it feels like using food as medicine, and it's just good. It's very, very good. And so I'm reinforcing this wonderful, wonderful way of life. Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming. You're very welcome to be here. And, that's one of the main reasons we're here. We, share the science, and we also want to provide support. The group has something that's special that we as individual practitioners, both Scott and I, we can kind of help influence behavior a bit, but it seems like a group like this seems to have even greater impact. Thanks for coming. Anybody else?
I just wanted to announce, let's wait till there's a few more people here, but if everyone that gets the weekly newsletter Sunday morning, if you read through it, you see that we have another movie social coming up on Saturday, April 15th at the First Christian Church of Springfield again, same place as we had it in February. And so if you want more information on that, check out the newsletter. There's a link to the upcoming events on the Eugene Plant-Based Providers website. Otherwise, I can show everyone where that is on the website here today, especially since we have some new people. Well, I
So,
just hope to see people there.
yeah, Joan, is your hand up because you just didn't put it down, or should I call on you?
How do I do my hand?
I forgot.
Oh, okay. So Dorothea, the way you raise your hand is you go to the,
Reactions at the bottom.
yeah, reactions,
Mhm.
and then you can click on it. So David and Cherie, tell us what's on your mind.
I just wanted to say I went to the last movie social and it was fun. And I like the movie too. Just to encourage other people.
Great.
Thank you.
It was
Thank you.
Yeah, and there was food.
Yeah, we had 37 people last time, so we'll see. This time we're going to actually have a little more advertising. One of our volunteers for our Eugene Plant-Based Provider Group, she's putting an ad in the Register Guard online and some other local outlets to get, and even a radio spot apparently she was going to work on. So we might have a few more people this for April.
Anyone else who joined in and hasn't had a chance to let us know how you found out about these sessions and what you might hope to get out of them? And we're just kind of curious about that. There's no have to, but if you want to just unmute yourself and say hello, whether it might be a doctor or just a friend who referred you to the classes. I see several new names here, but you know, it's kind of a little intimidating to speak up on the Zoom class if you're not used to using it. So no one has to speak out. So this week, I guess we'll go ahead and get started with mood and food. We have been talking about your ability to have a positive mindset and how important that is to your health. And today we're going to be talking about health, happiness, food, mood, anxiety, depression, how to combat those issues with your food choices, what might be the best food choices to make. So we've got a series of videos that we hope you enjoy. And we'll stop intermittently, give you a chance for questions like we usually do. And I think we'll have enough time for a number of questions at the end of the session also. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started with our first video, and then we'll get on to the next bit of the session. So we're going to come up here and we're talking about mood and food, and are happier people actually healthier? Let's see what, I think this is Dr. Greger.
More than 60 years ago, the World Health Organization defined health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Just because you're not depressed doesn't necessarily mean you're happy. But if you look at the medical literature, there are 20 times more studies published on health and depression than there are on health and happiness. In recent years, though, research on positive psychology has emerged. What we can do to increase our success, functioning, and happiness, all inherently good in themselves, but are happier people healthier people? There's growing evidence that positive psychological well-being is associated with reduced risk of physical illness. But it's not surprising that healthier people are happier than sick people. The intriguing issue is whether psychological well-being protects against future illness or inhibits the progression of chronic disease. To figure out which came first, you'd have to get more than just a snapshot in time. You'd need prospective studies, meaning studies that go forward in time to see if people start out happier do indeed live longer. And Yes, a review of such studies suggests that positive psychological well-being has a favorable effect on survival in both healthy and diseased populations. But not so fast. Yes, positive states may be associated with less stress and inflammation and more resilience to infection, but positive well-being may also be accompanied by a healthy lifestyle that itself reduces the risk of disease. Happy people tend to smoke less, exercise more, drink less, and sleep better. So maybe happiness leads to health only indirectly. However, the apparent protective effect of positive psychological well-being persisted even after controlling for all these healthy behaviors, meaning effectively, even at the same level of smoking, drinking, exercise, and sleep, happier people did seem to live longer. Ideally, to definitively establish cause and effect, we do an interventional trial in which participants are assigned at random to different mood levels and tracked for health outcomes. It's rarely feasible or ethical to randomly make some people's lives miserable to see what happens, but if you pay people enough, you can do experiments like this. It's been thought that people who typically report experiencing negative emotions are at greater risk for disease, and those who typically report positive emotions are at less risk, so they decided to test this using the common cold virus. 334 healthy volunteers were assessed for how happy, pleased, and relaxed they were, or how anxious, hostile, and depressed. Subsequently, they were given nasal drops containing cold rhinoviruses to see who would be more likely to come down with a cold. Who would let someone drip viruses in their nose? Someone paid $800, that's who. OK. Now, just because you get exposed to a cold virus doesn't mean you automatically get sick, because you have an immune system that can fight it off, even if it's dripped right into your nose. The question is whose immune system fights better. In a third of the bummed-out folks, their immune systems failed to fight off the virus and they came down with a cold, but only about 1 in 5 got a cold in the happy group. Maybe it's because those with positive emotions slept better, more exercise, lower stress? No. It appears even after controlling for the healthy practices and levels of stress hormones, happier people still appear to have healthier immune systems, a greater resistance to developing the common cold. Works with the flu, too. They repeated the study with the flu virus, and like in the earlier study, increased positive emotions was associated with decreased verified illness rates. These results indicate that feeling vigorous, calm, and happy may play a more important role in health than previously thought.
Just a little quick show of hands. How many of you would, for $800, have virus dropped in your nose? Anybody?
No, thanks.
I sure wouldn't. Not worth it to me, but yeah, that's quite the experiment, I would say. All right, let's go on to the next video. Next video is coming up here. Which foods actually increase happiness? So now that you know that happiness is important for your health, let's see which foods increase your happiness.
Thousands of papers have been published on the important topic of what determines people's happiness and psychological health. But what about the potential influence of the different kinds of foods that people eat? The rising prevalence of mental ill health is causing a considerable burden, and so inexpensive and effective strategies are required to improve the psychological well-being of our population. And now we have a growing body of literature suggesting that dietary intake may have the potential to influence psychological well-being. Dietary intake of what? Well, given the strong evidence base for the health benefits of fruits and vegetables, researchers started there. Cross-sectional studies from all over the world support this relationship between happiness and fruit and vegetable intake. Those eating fruits and vegetables each day at a higher likelihood of being classified as very happy, suggesting a strong and positive correlation between fruit and vegetable consumption and happiness, perhaps feelings of optimism too. The largest such study was done in Great Britain, where a dose-response relationship was found between daily servings of fruits and vegetables and both life satisfaction and happiness, meaning more fruits and veggies meant more happiness. People who got up to 7 or 8 servings a day reported the highest life satisfaction and happiness. And these associations remain significant even after controlling for factors such as income, and illness, and exercise, smoking, and body weight, suggesting fruit and vegetable consumption wasn't just acting as a marker for other healthy behaviors. But how could eating plants improve happiness on their own? Well, many fruits and veggies contain higher levels of vitamin C, which is a cofactor in the production of dopamine, the zest for life neurotransmitter. And the antioxidants reduce inflammation, which may lead to higher levels of eudaimonic well-being. Aristotle's notion of eudaimonia, described as the highest of all human goods, the realization of one's true potential, which was the aim of this study. They wanted to know whether eating fruits and vegetables was associated with other markers of well-being beyond happiness and life satisfaction, like greater eudaimonic well-being, a state of flourishing characterized by feelings of engagement, meaning, and purpose in life. So, a sample of about 400 young adults followed for about 2 weeks, and indeed young adults who ate more fruits and veggies reported higher average eudaimonic well-being, more intense feelings of curiosity, greater creativity, and they could follow this on a day-by-day basis, greater well-being on the days they ate healthier. These findings suggest that fruit and vegetable intake is related to other aspects of human flourishing beyond just feeling happy. Not so fast, though. Instead of eating good food leading to a good mood, maybe the good mood led to eating good food. Experimentally, if you put people in a good mood, they rate healthy foods like apples higher than indulgent foods like candy bars. Given a choice between M&Ms and grapes, individuals in a positive mood were more likely to choose the grapes. The results of these studies lend support to a growing body of research that suggests that positive mood facilitates resistance to temptation. Who needs comfort foods when you're already comforted? It's like which came first, the chicken or the egg? Yes, eating eggs may increase our likelihood of chronic disease, but maybe chronic disease also increases our likelihood of eating unhealthy foods. Which came first, the mood or the food? What we need is a study like this, but instead of looking at well-being and diet on the same day, you see if there's a correlation between what you eat today and how you feel tomorrow. But we didn't have a study like that until now. They found the same strong relationships between daily positive mood and fruit and vegetable consumption, but lagged analyses showed that fruit and vegetable consumption predicted improvements in positive mood the next day, not vice versa. On days when people ate more fruits and vegetables, they reported feeling calmer, happier, more energetic than they normally do, and they also felt more positive the next day. So eating fruits and vegetables really may promote emotional well-being. Look, single bouts of exercise can elevate one's mood. Why not the same thing with healthy food? How many fruits and vegetables? Seems we need to consume approximately 7.2 daily servings of fruit or 8.2 servings of vegetables to notice a meaningful change.
So let's stop for a moment and see if anybody has any input in this. I'm telling you, I eat right now, I think we're up to maybe 8 to 10 serving of fruit and vegetables a day. I'm feeling pretty happy, as most of you have recognized. And So I'm just kind of curious, anybody else eating about that quantity, feeling pretty happy? Has it made a difference in their life? Have you noticed anything like that? Or is this news to you?
I still think that it could be the opposite. They're looking at a correlation and assuming causation in one particular direction. I've noticed that, I have noticed that if I eat greens the night before, I feel good the next day. I think that's true. But I've also noticed that if I feel really good about myself in my life one day because of friends or activities or whatever, I'm much more likely the next day to eat healthy.
Mhm.
So I think, I don't think they've necessarily proven that the vegetables are the cause of the happiness.
Okay. And anybody else?
There's also there is some direct evidence. We know that the more fiber you eat, i.e. fruits and vegetables, the more gut flora you get, and the more your microbiome is more likely to make more serotonin, because 70 to 80% of all the serotonin production, which is kind of the happiness brain neurotransmitter, is made by the gut bugs, the colon microbiome, and they're the fiber feeders. So we actually have direct evidence of higher serotonin levels in people that eat more fruits and vegetables. So that's a little more of a direct correlate, direct effect mechanism.
Also, not only serotonin is produced by your microbiome, but also butyrate, which is an anti-inflammatory chemical. So it cuts down on the inflammation, and inflammation leads to many of our chronic diseases. So you develop a chronic disease, you're likely to be much more unhappy than if you are healthy. So number of possible benefits.
Definitely a difficult thing to study, though. I could see how that would be a challenging thing to study.
Okay, so let's go on to the next video. And this one is, let's talk briefly about blueberries for mood and mobility. And then we're going to talk a little bit about dehydration and water, about our mood.
The consumption of berries can enhance beneficial signaling in the brain. Plant foods are our primary source of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds, but some plant foods may be better than others, as I've explained before. 1 cup of blueberries a day can improve cognition among older adults, as shown in this randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, and the same thing in kids after just a single meal of blueberries, though 2 cups may work better than 1. That single hit of berries may also improve mood. A double-blind, placebo-controlled crossover study in which kids are asked a series of questions. Are you very slightly or not at all, a little, moderately, quite a bit, or extremely interested, excited, strong, etc.? Before and after drinking the placebo, no significant change. But 2 hours after consuming about 2 cups of blueberries, their positive mood scores significantly improved. They felt more enthusiastic, alert, inspired, attentive, that kind of thing. That was in young adults, ages 18 through 21. Same thing in 7 to 10-year-old children. Some dangerous new mood-enhancing drug or Ritalin? No, blueberries, and just after a single meal. Now, blueberries can't do everything. Although a cup of berries certainly appears to improve brain function, no improvement in walking or balance was observed. Maybe if you tried 2 cups of blueberries a day? Let's do it. Would 6 weeks of 2 cups of frozen blueberries a day affect the functional mobility in adults over age 60? Let's find out. How awesome is it that this study was ever done in the first place? Anyway, randomized to blueberries or carrot juice as a control, measuring things like walking a plank, seeing if you can maintain your balance along a narrow path. Two bright yellow ropes on the floor outlined the narrow path, and participants were instructed to walk down within the roped path. And the blueberries beat out the carrot juice. Significant improvements suggesting blueberry supplementation may provide an effective countermeasure to age-related declines in functional mobility. And looking back, they were thinking maybe they should have used something like cucumber as a control, since the carrots may have offered some benefit as well, making the blueberry results even more impressive. Overall, this study demonstrates the need for greater exploration of blueberry supplementation as a non-pharmacologic countermeasure to the public health issue of age-related declines in independence. Or to use the pun version, dietary interventions with phytonutrient-rich foods such as blueberries present a potentially fruitful strategy for combating some of the deleterious effects of age-related neurodegeneration.
Perhaps this video encouraged me to eat blueberries every day, usually 3/4 to a full cup. I haven't been sorry doing that. Allows me to get on the tennis court on a regular basis, and seems to be working for me. Hopefully it's working for others. Let's see about your hydration status, whether water has an effect on your mood.
Water is by far the #1 nutrient in our diet. Studies have suggested that proper hydration may lower our risk of heart disease and cancer, and may even make you a better kisser. Brushing artificial skin against the lips of young women, researchers found that hydrated lips showed greater sensitivity to light touch. Although it is well known that water is essential for human survival, only recently have we begun to understand its role in the maintenance of brain function. Makes sense. Our brain is 75% water. And so when we get dehydrated, our brain actually shrinks. Even mild dehydration caused by exercising on a hot day has been shown to change brain function. I've talked about the role of hydration for cognitive function, but current findings suggest that our mood states may also be positively influenced by water consumption. The effects of dehydration in real life have not been well documented. It wasn't until 2013 when the first study to investigate the effects of mild dehydration on a variety of feelings was published. What did they find? The most important effects of fluid deprivation were increased sleepiness and fatigue, lower levels of vigor and alertness, and increased confusion. But as soon as they gave them some water, the deleterious effects on alertness, happiness, and confusion were immediately reversed. Water absorption actually happens very rapidly, within 5 minutes from mouth to bloodstream, peaking around minute 20. And as an aside, the temperature of the water appears to matter. Which do you think is absorbed more rapidly, cold water or warm body temperature water? Cold water gets sucked into the body about 20% faster. How can you tell if you're dehydrated or not? Why don't you ask your body? If you chugged down some water and then turned around and just peed it all right out, presumably that would have been your body's way of saying, I'm good, all topped off. But if you drank a bunch of water and your body kept most of it, then presumably your tank was low. So these researchers formalized the technique. You empty your bladder, and then chug down 11 milliliters per kilogram body weight, or 5 milliliters per pound. There's about 240 milliliters in a cup, so that's about 3 cups of water. You drink 3 cups of water, and then an hour later see how much you pee. The empty circles on this graph up in the corner are the dehydrated folks. So basically this says if you drink 3 cups and pee out less than 1, there's a good chance you were dehydrated.
So it's worth a period of pausing to kind of discuss that issue and make sure you have that down. There are a number of ways that you can kind of assess yourself for whether you're dehydrated. You could look at your urine and you could see whether it's light yellow to almost clear. You could do what, you can put a dipstick in your urine and you can see what the specific gravity is. And if it's below 1.020, you're probably not dehydrated, but if it's above that level, you're probably in the dehydration range. And you can do what Dr. Greger recommends here, is having 3 cups of water and see if you pee out 1 cup over the next hour. So whatever you choose to do, just keep in mind that there is a large number of people who are really dehydrated for reasons, you don't want to run to the bathroom all the time, you're a very busy lifestyle, but really take it into consideration, especially if you're having issues with maybe problems with concentration, maybe with your mood, maybe with fatigue, whatever. Dehydration can cause many, many symptoms. Let's see. So Joan, I see a hand up.
So I've been drinking seltzers. Is that good or bad?
So Scott, do you have a take on seltzer?
Yeah, I guess it just depends if it
versus
has,
what?
yeah, if the carbonation has like phosphate in it, which some of it has that, and that's not so good for bone health, having extra phosphate in carbonated drinks. But if it's just, like the CO2 that you do from like a home stream, what they call those soda streams, if it's just plain water and it's a little bit of carbonation once in a while, it's probably fine. But I think in general, if it's commercially made, you have to figure out if it's got the phosphate in it, phosphorus, that's been associated with osteoporosis, poor bone health.
The other thing is there any free sugar that they've added to that drink for you when you look on the ingredients? And if there is, it's probably not nearly as healthy as just water or tea, some other beverage like that.
And the artificial sweeteners are kind of going out of favor now too when it comes to health, because it alters the microbiome and lots of other things too now. So we're kind of, the newer science coming out in the last couple of years, kind of starting to, like, I know Dr. Greger, he had videos on ones that were safe, ones that weren't, from many years ago, 7, 8, 9 years ago. But now there's new studies that have come out. They're trying to say, well, we're actually probably should avoid the artificial sweeteners too.
So again, Joan, we want to say that if you're getting the health benefits you want in this world and you're otherwise healthy and you want to have a little bit of that drink once in a while, probably not an issue. If you're not having the health benefits that you want, then maybe you consider transitioning to an herbal tea or something like that. Just a thought. Okay, we have a few more people here. Marcia?
How about the pinching test? If you're supposed to be able to pinch your arm or something, and if it goes down or something, you're not dehydrated or something. Heard of
So
that?
Yeah, it's
Right.
called skin. Yeah, it's called skin tenting, but it works okay for younger people, because as we get older, our skin thins out, and that doesn't become a very reliable source. And plus, if you're younger and you do have skin tenting, you're really in bad shape. So you're kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit at that point. You'd want to detect it before that.
Okay, my granddaughter showed me that a few years ago. So
all right, good thought. Edward. And of course, Eureka. Perhaps.
Yeah, she's right here.
Good.
So during the day, I drink a bit of water. and I drink a lot of coffee. But every time I go urinate, it's pretty clear. Right, that's a good sign.
Yes.
But at night, I sleep with a CPAP machine, and I am a mouth breather, so I wear a full face mask, and I just get this horrible cotton mouth during the night. But I think I'm pretty well hydrated during the day. Should I have any
So-
idea?
So my thought on that is if you're keeping yourself hydrated for greater than half the day, perhaps, that, you know, your kidneys are getting flushed out, you're not likely to develop stones, and, you know, when you're sleeping, you're not depending on your brain function nearly as much as you are during the day to be more alert and other things. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Sounds like you are getting adequate hydration throughout most of your day. You're awake more than you're asleep. So that's my thought. Scott, do you have any other thoughts?
No, it's probably, yeah, from the CPAP. It's probably the main issue with the dry mouth, not that you're dehydrated. Do you have to get up at night to urinate, usually once or twice?
Maybe once. I try not to drink too much water because of that, right before bed. But sometimes I get up once or twice, usually once. But there's also like a moisture heating chamber in the machine, and the tubing is heated.
So yeah, it's got a humidifier in it, yeah.
I would think that would, you know, put some moisture in the air.
It sounds like you're staying pretty hydrated.
Okay.
Also, you could, you know, ask your people who supplied you with the CPAP machine what their thoughts are on that issue. See what they have to say.
Okay, that's a good idea.
All right, Dave and Cherie.
Okay, first, let me say I have the CPAP too. And in the winter, if I'm congested at all, I'll start breathing out my mouth, and yeah, it becomes like the Sahara Desert there. I just keep a bottle of water next to the bed. Second, thank you for playing that Blueberry movie. I, for the last year, been eating blueberries 3 times a day, and she keeps saying, slow down, slow down. And the reason I put the hand up third is Sheree drinks this kombucha she gets at Costco, and
Yep.
it's organic raw carbonated kombucha, and she's wondering if that has carbonation. She's concerned about osteoporosis.
Because I have that. Is it bad for me, basically? Is that what I'm hearing with the other drink?
It's better to not drink too much of anything carbonated unless you make it yourself with the, because I think it's like the main problem with carbonated beverages, commercial carbonated beverages, is they add phosphorus into phosphate or whatever to help create the carbonation. I don't know if it's on the label or not, but I think it's okay. Like if you had a Soda Stream, it's just a CO2 cartridge. I think that doesn't put any of the phosphorus in there. Dr. Greger has a video on that. I don't know if we could try to search for it.
I can look it up too on his. I didn't realize he had one. I'll check that.
I
Thank you.
make my own kombucha, and the carbonation process, the flavoring and carbonation process is totally controllable by you. So you can opt for very little. I put in a lot of ginger and turmeric, and then I opt for very little carbonization.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can share what you find out with us at a future class time too.
Okay.
All right, Kim.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First of all, why doesn't Aaron have the picture of Mount Rainier behind him? Because I'm sorry I was late. It's getting lighter longer, and I hoped I could get in on time, but I didn't.
You got it.
Hi. So Mount Rainier's the bomb. It's amazing. So I'm sorry I was late. I don't know if anybody brought up the connection between hydration and altitude illness, but water is probably the most important thing in the planet for us. And it just seems to solve a lot of things and cure a lot of things and prevent a lot of things. And of all the things that can cause or lead to altitude illness, hydration's the biggest factor. So climbers just melt a lot of snow and drink a lot of water. One time on Rainier, I did great. And one time on Rainier, I didn't feel too good after 12,000. So I should have drank more water before I went. But that's the most important thing. If you're worried about altitude illness, and anytime you're over 10,000, probably need to be real hydrated. So what do I drink? Well, when I'm in the mountains, I drink water. During the day, I have a couple cups of coffee in the morning. I have some of these at seltzers, and they say they're not a significant source of phosphorus. And it says the only thing they do have is carbonated water. So I don't know. I'm just trying to follow Scott's advice and not have too many. And then I do drink the hibiscus teas, the herbal teas at night. And I'm in a situation where it's just normal to get up at night. So it doesn't matter whether I drink or not, I'm going to get up 3 times. So I just try to drink all I can. It really helps your health.
Well, thanks for the mountaineering lesson. High altitude hydration is important for sure. Okay,
I wanted to ask one more thing. If I
sure.
can remember it now. I missed the blueberry video. Scott, is it on the website so I can watch it?
Well, you just watch the recording of the class when I put it up on Thursday. And you
Well,
can see it again. All
I
right, Charlie's the one
just-
that has it, not me.
I'll do that.
I'll get back to the name when I play my next video here. I'll show you what the name of it is, and you can get it on nutritionfacts.org, Dr. Greger's site. I don't have the name in front of me this second, but I'll bring it up here in just a few moments. Abby and Doug.
Yeah, hi. I had a lipid test in January. I got my total cholesterol and LDL down to what Caldwell wants, and I've kind of backslid last month and a half. Had some salmon and some chicken, and about a week ago, I took off my shoes, and I've had some sores that haven't healed on my toes. My feet were red and my calves felt kind of heavy. I went to urgent care. The doctor ordered that test where they test your blood pressure in your arms and your toes. And they came back mildly normal. But anyway, because of that scare, I'm interested in really getting into the program. And I had a couple of just quick questions regarding greens. They say so many cups, what's a cup of greens? Is there some weight that I should be eating each day, so many ounces or grams or something? Like for the raw greens?
I haven't seen that, but Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen, the free app that you can download,
Yeah,
he talks about eating a half a cup of broccoli, which you just take a measuring cup and just dump in that. He doesn't talk about grams. Same way with the greens. 2 servings of greens are a cup of each. And I think of that as like a handful approximately, whatever you can grab. And it's a plus or minus, a little more or a little less, no major thing. If you like to weigh your food, you could do that. I don't know the amount of grams that is in a serving, but Greger just does it by cups or half a cups.
Yeah, but like spinach, is a light light compression or?
Is it light compression or you just squeeze it down and?
Yeah,
push
there's
it
a lot
in?
of there's a lot of difference.
I don't think you have to squeeze it down. I think
Okay.
you can just grab what you grab and not to worry about that.
Okay, yeah, in Caldwell, he talks about not drinking caffeinated coffee, but you can have caffeinated tea. Is that
Yeah.
just because coffee has a lot more caffeine?
Perhaps, I don't know.
And the other thing, I was diagnosed with celiac disease. I was tested off the
Yeah.
chart, and I've been retested twice, and it's really come down a lot. I just wonder, I gained most of my weight back, and I just wonder if I go on full bore with this. That's kind of the reason I kind of went off. I want to get more calories,
Yeah.
and Caldwell doesn't want you eating nuts. And I don't know where I'm going to get my calories.
So he doesn't want you because he's trying to reverse heart disease. So do you have heart disease?
I don't know. I've never been tested, but I have an abdominal aortic aneurysm, and I had an older brother had to have surgery for it. And so my doctor put me on statins, but I didn't seem to tolerate them.
Yeah. So from my thought process, if you're eating more greens, you're going to be healing your arteries. If you're avoiding the oils, that's a really good choice. The free oils, just getting the natural oils from your foods. And what else can I say? You're avoiding processed foods. It'll keep your blood pressure under control. You want to make sure that that's well controlled.
Yeah, it
Doing
is.
things to reduce the stress in your life. And a quarter cup of nuts is probably a healthy choice. That's my thought right now. If you want to have a few extra calories, but you also can add some beans and lentils or potatoes that are, like 400 to 600 calories a pound. Eat a few more of those and a little less of the 100 calories a pound non-starchy veggies. So I know you want to eat more of those with the greens, so it's a little conflict, but I think your weight will keep increasing when you're staying away from gluten. Sounds like you're on the right track. So if you want to add a quarter cup of nuts, I think that's okay. Scott, do you have any input?
Yeah, or you could even go ahead and have maybe a quarter or half of an avocado, maybe have avocado toast for breakfast or something if you're still trying to gain a little bit more weight. So that's a healthy fat there, and and you're not having to worry too much about calorie density. So choosing foods that are still healthy but a little higher in calorie density. And since you don't have, you're not trying to avoid having a stent or like that, you don't have to worry about the nuts and the fats from the avocado and things like that.
Okay, thank you.
Another thing is are you doing a tablespoon of flax a day, ground up flax seeds? If not, I'd do a tablespoon, maybe even 2.
Okay, yeah, I've been doing 1 tablespoon. Should I split it morning and evening?
You could split it, you could take it together, or you could do flaxseed 1 tablespoon, mix it with some chia seeds or hemp seeds, and have a little variety.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Arun.
Yeah, before I ask my question, I wanted to tell Ken that the reason you didn't see Mount Rainier before was because it was too sunny today. So I didn't want something raining, or something snowing. So back to the question. I've been, let's see, instead of having cream cheese on my toast, I've been putting flaxseed and nut butter. Is that a better choice?
A much better choice from my
Much
point
better.
of view.
Yeah, but also in the oats or the groats, I put ground up flax seeds and nutritional yeast and some dried cashews and things like that, and some apples. That's okay, right? Yeah.
From my point of view, it is. What about you,
Sure.
Scott?
Yeah, that's great choices.
Yeah,
job.
good job.
Okay, and I'm cutting down on my coffee to maybe half a cup, 3 or 4 times a week, but having chai or herbal tea or ginger tea, and lots of water. Yeah.
Nice.
So I don't have to get up more than once at night.
So are you getting your 8 servings of fruit and veggies a day
I think so.
or 9?
I'm 999.
Remember, Dr. Greger, it's 4 serving of fruit, 5 serving of vegetables is 9. So shoot for 9 or 10 and you'll be right in the ballpark. And, just keep transitioning just like you did. You say, before I was eating, a little bit of the animal product and I substituted more of the plant product and, that's good.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? We've had a run of questions here. I have a few more videos to share with you. And I promised Ken I was going to share what the name of that blueberry video was. So why don't we do that next? And so I need to go over here. I X'd out on I just need to find my mood and food talk. Where are we at? Is it here? It's not here. Oh man. Okay, let's go over here to this one and come over here. And here we're back to mood and food. So under Greger, nutritionfacts.org, it's the benefits of blueberries for mood and mobility. So if you just do a search on his site, benefits of blueberries, I'm sure this will come up for you. And then there's the dehydration one. And now we're doing improving mood through diet. So let's talk about that and plant-based diet mood, and then plant-based diets for improved mood and productivity. Those are the last 3 that I want to share with you. They're not long.
In one of my videos last year, I reported on the finding that vegetarian men and women had significantly better scores on the depression, anxiety, stress scale. Why were vegetarians significantly less depressed, anxious, and stressed than even healthy meat eaters in the study? Negligible arachidonic acid intake may help explain the favorable mood profile observed with vegetarian diets. As I talked about last year, this arachidonic acid stuff in our diet produces inflammatory compounds which may inflame our brain. The omnivores ate 9 times as much arachidonic acid than the vegetarians, which is not surprising given that arachidonic acid is not found in plants. That's why vegetarians and vegans have significantly lower levels of arachidonic acid flowing through their bloodstream. In fact, you can even measure it right out of saliva. They found significantly lower levels of arachidonic acid in vegetarian drool. This was a landmark study, but it was also just a cross-sectional study, a snapshot in time. To prove cause and effect, they really needed to do an interventional study, so they did. Presented at the American Public Health Association conference, they took a bunch of meat eaters and split them up into 3 groups. The control group maintained regular intake of flesh foods, the second group ate fish but no other meat, and the third was put on a vegetarian diet with no eggs. The whole study only lasted 2 weeks, but what do you think they found? If it was primarily the saturated fat inflaming the omnivore's brain, then the moods of both the veg and fish groups would presumably improve. If arachidonic acid was the culprit, then presumably only the veg group would feel significantly better. This is the amount of arachidonic acid in blue consumed per day by the end of the study. The fish eaters were eating a lot more of those long-chain omega-3s, though, EPA and DHA, so maybe they were protected even though they were consuming all that arachidonic acid in fish. Or maybe no one would experience a change in mood at all in such a short time frame, just 2 weeks. I mean, sometimes it takes drugs months to have an effect. Here's what they found. In terms of psychological benefits, the egg-free vegetarian group significantly improved, meaning greater reductions in both the depression, anxiety, stress scale and the profile of mood states, a measurement of mood disturbance. Though the no-poultry fish group did marginally better than the control group, the difference was not statistically significant. Conclusion: the complete restriction of flesh food significantly reduced mood variability in omnivores. Our results suggest that a vegetarian diet can reduce mood variability in omnivores. Perhaps eating less meat can help protect mood in omnivores, particularly important in those susceptible to mood disorders.
Okay, so there is a little bit of what Gregor has to say. Let's check out the next video.
Speaking of chilling out, there's a stereotype. The angry vegetarian who wants to eat healthy if it'll just make you cranky. Well, a new study was just released on the emotional health and mood states of vegetarians. We know about the physical health benefits, but might that come at the cost of their mental health, particularly with regard to mood? They used 2 psychological tests, what's called a profile of mood states, looking at depression, anger, hostility, fatigue, confusion, and the depression, anxiety, stress scale, designed to measure negative mood states, hopelessness, lack of interest, anhedonia, which means lack of pleasure, anxiety, stress, agitation, irritability, impatience with people. What do you think they found? Fact or fiction? Vegetarians tend to be, on average, more depressed, anxious, and sad. Fiction. Vegetarians report significantly less negative emotion than omnivores. Why, though? They offer 2 explanations. First, if you're unhealthy, if you're sick all the time, going back and forth to doctors, dealing with HMOs, of course you're going to be more irritable, stressed, depressed. So they suggest the emotional health of vegetarians may be in part a result of their superior physical health. The second reason may be arachidonic acid. Arachidonic acid is metabolized in the body to produce inflammatory mediators. In fact, that's how anti-inflammatory drugs like aspirin and ibuprofen work, by interfering with the conversion of arachidonic acid into compounds that produce inflammation, pain, and swelling. Where is arachidonic acid found in our diet? Here's a list of the top 10 sources in the United States. Overwhelmingly, chicken and eggs, though there's also some in beef, pork, fish, and other animal products. So maybe one reason vegetarians are, on average, so much happier, more positive, is that arachidonic acid is a key substrate for the synthesis of pro-inflammatory compounds in the body, which can adversely affect mental health via a cascade of neuroinflammation. So omnivores may be more negative, depressed, stressed, hopeless, in part because their brains are so inflamed by their diet.
So arachidonic acid, we're learning about that, maybe a new concept to many of you. Plant-based diets for improved mood and productivity. Let's play our last video, and then we'll see what kind of questions we come up with there.
A 2014 systematic review and meta-analysis of dietary patterns and depression concluded that a healthy diet pattern was significantly associated with reduced odds of depression. But out of the 21 studies they could find in the medical literature, they were only able to find one randomized controlled trial, considered the study design that provides the highest level of evidence. And it was the study I profiled in Improving Mood Through Diet, in which removing meat, fish, poultry, and eggs improved several mood scores in just 2 weeks. We've known that those eating plant-based tend to have healthier mood states, less tension, anxiety, depression, anger, hostility, and fatigue. But you couldn't tell if it was cause and effect until you put it to the test, which they finally did. But what could account for such rapid results? Well, eating vegetarian does give you a better antioxidant status, which may help with depression. Also, as I previously addressed, how consumption, even a single carbohydrate-rich meal, can improve depression, tension, anger, confusion, sadness, fatigue, alert, and calmness scores among patients with PMS. But what about long-term? Overweight men and women were randomized into a low-carb, high-fat diet or a high-carb, low-fat diet for a year. By the end of the year, who had less depression, anxiety, anger, and hostility, feelings of dejection, tension, fatigue, better vigor, less confusion, or mood disturbances? The low-carb dieters are represented by the black circles, and the low-fat dieters are represented in the white. These sustained improvements in mood in the low-fat group compared with the low-carb group are consistent with results from epidemiological studies showing that diets high in carbohydrates and low in fat and protein are associated with lower levels of anxiety and depression and have beneficial effects on psychological well-being. But the overall amount of fat in their diet didn't change in this study, though, but the type of fat did. Their arachidonic acid intake fell to 0. Arachidonic acid is an inflammatory omega-6 fatty acid that can adversely impact mental health via a cascade of neuroinflammation. It may inflame our brain. High blood levels in the bloodstream have been associated with a greater likelihood of suicide risk, for example, and major depressive episodes. How can we stay away from this stuff? Well, Americans are exposed to arachidonic acid primarily through chicken and eggs. But when you remove chicken and eggs and other meat, we can eliminate preformed arachidonic acid from our diet. So while high-quality treatment studies investigating the impact of diet on depression are scarce, there is that successful 2-week trial. But even better, how about 22 weeks? Overweight or diabetic employees of a major insurance corporation received either weekly group instruction on a whole food plant-based diet or no diet instruction for 5.5 months. There was no portion size restriction, no calorie counting, no carb counting, no change in exercise, no meals were provided, but the company cafeteria did start offering daily options such as lentil soup, minestrone, bean burritos. No meat, eggs, dairy, oil, or junk, yet they reported greater diet satisfaction compared with the control group participants who had no diet restrictions. How'd they do, though? More participants in the plant-based intervention group reported improved digestion, increased energy, better sleep than usual at week 22 compared with the control group. They also reported a significant increase in physical functioning, general health, vitality, and mental health. Here's this all kind of represented graphically, where the plant-based group beat out controls on nearly every measure. There was also significant improvements in work productivity, thought to be due in large part to their improvements in health. So what this study demonstrated was that a cholesterol-free diet is acceptable not only in research settings, but in a typical corporate environment, improving quality of life and productivity at little cost. All we need now is a large randomized trial for confirmation, but we didn't have such a thing until now. 10 corporate sites across the country, from San Diego to Macon, Georgia, same kind of setup as before. Can a plant-based nutrition program in a multi-center corporate setting improve depression, anxiety, and productivity? Yes. Significant improvements in depression, anxiety, fatigue, emotional well-being, and daily functioning. Lifestyle interventions have an increasingly apparent role in physical and mental health, and among the most effective of these is the use of plant-based diets.
And there you go. Fairly impressive. may give you some food for thought. Should you be having anxiety, depression, other mood disorders, or if you know people who potentially have these? Making a change in what you choose to eat in a culture that is serving foods that are leading to inflammation can be quite the challenge. You notice that chicken, which is what is probably most commonly recommended food, at least that's what, when I ask patients at the volunteer clinic, so are you eating healthy? Yeah, I'm eating healthy. I'm eating chicken with the skin off. They're eating a lot of arachidonic acid, and it's not such a health food. And of course, we're eating eggs. Eggs are healthy, aren't they? Well, as you look at the science, you may find that that's not quite the case. So, with that said, time to open up for a few more questions. See what Scott has to say.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and show a question in the chat about how to get the recordings of the classes. So since we have a few new people here tonight, I'll show the class website here.
Great.
So here's the class website is just www.livelifestylemedicine.com. So it'll be something to write down or put in your favorites, livelifestylemedicine.com. And then here's the class website, and the best way to kind of get a review of what's all available on this website is to scroll down the homepage here and watch the website tutorial, which is right here. I have it recorded. It's just about 15 minutes long. I give a full tour of where everything is on the website. And then you might also want to subscribe to the weekly class newsletter. So you click here, you'll put in your name and email, and you'll get a welcome email initially, and then an email every Sunday morning and on a weekly basis. And so be sure to check your junk file, because a lot of times people the welcome email, as well as sometimes the weekly email will go into their junk file or spam folder. Even after they've maybe gotten it for a couple of weeks, it might, if you suddenly don't get it, make sure you check your junk file, because it often goes there because it's a MailChimp account. Sometimes that happens. But then you'll see where everything is, but on the class archives is right here. So you click class archives, and here's the 2023 classes. You just click there. And then, so here was last week's class, March 14th. And then here's all the classes we've had so far this year. So I usually put them up on about Thursday afternoon. So tonight's class will be up on the website here Thursday afternoon. And you can just click and watch any of the classes that you missed, or you want to rewatch one, you can. And if you're new to the classes and you just want to get caught up with where we are, you could start at the beginning, a couple of introduction classes, meal preparation and planning class. We have open forums periodically. We had some topics in February on weight loss, weight management, food addiction, behavior change. And if you want to kind of see what we have in store for the future, you can either go to on the homepage, you can look at the class calendar, which is down at the bottom of the homepage, and see what's coming up. But if you want to look overall or jump ahead to some of the classes that you might be interested in specific topics, you can go to last year's classes, 2022, and then you can see what we did all last year and all the different topics that we have. And if you want to get an idea of what's coming up later this year, or if you want to I really want to see the class on diabetes, and so you can just go ahead and watch the class on diabetes from last year if you want to jump ahead. But these, you'll know all these will be coming further into this year. But yeah, so definitely check out livelifestylemedicine.com. Lots of great free resources for you there. And then since I'm here, I also want to a shout out to our Eugene Plant-Based Provider Group. I have that website is just eugeneplantbasedproviders.com. It's a separate website. You can link to it right here. And this is our Eugene Plant-Based Provider website. And if you go to upcoming events, click on that. Here we have a movie social, the same one we had in February. We're going to show a different movie this time, but we'll have free snacks there, plant-based snacks, and then we'll watch a movie. We're going to watch The Marshall Plan. And if you want to sign up for that, just put in your name and email and how many in your party and send that. So we have a head count. So we'll know how many people are showing up so we know how much food to bring, and we hope to see you guys all there. Any questions about any of that?
Yes, I have one.
Arun,
Yeah, Rude.
Yeah, what's the Marshall Plan? Is that the German Marshall Plan or something?
Yeah, no, it's about the town of Marshall, Texas. So it's a small town in Texas, and really inspiring story of how they did plant-based immersions in their town. The mayor of Marshall, Texas, was able to reverse his early stage prostate cancer with a plant-based diet, and then he brought in all kinds of experts, and they did potlucks and all kinds of immersions and stuff. It's really good, well done movie. So I'm going to show that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
well, we've got several more minutes.
For those
Uh,
of us that, oh, I'm sorry.
Go
For those
ahead.
of us not in the Eugene area, is there a place to get that movie where we could watch it online? We're in Southern California, so we can't come.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's we're already, it's a spoiler alert. It's already on the website. So here's Eugene Plant-Based Provider website. So if you go to, here's the home page, but you can go to the documentaries right here and scroll down. There's a whole bunch of different documentaries here, but we actually have the one we did, the movie we showed in February is this one, Plant-Wise. So you could just watch it by clicking here. And then spoiler alert for for the Marshall Plan, it's right here already. You can just click here and watch it right now if you want. But you know, I wanted to put it there so people could watch it if they, you know, came to the potluck, came to the movie social and wanted to see it again or wanted to share it with a friend or a family. You already have it, or if like you guys, you can't make it, you can watch it now. But so hopefully some of you won't just watch it on your own and then not come, because the point is to be together and to eat together and ask, talk and ask questions and be together in person. But yeah, not everybody can make it in person. So there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's EugenePlantBasedProviders.com. Right.
All right. Let's hear from anybody in the group who might have a topic that they're interested in or a question. Let's see, there was a hand. I think that was Ken. Yeah, Ken.
I forgot where, but I was doing some research on food and I learned this thing, and I don't know if there's any truth to it. I really don't even know why you do it, but somebody was promoting putting your potatoes, your French fries, in ice water for a while to draw some of the starch out. And if that happens, that's a good thing, because I'd like to not eat as much sugar. So what do you think? I mean, it sounds reasonable.
Yeah, so if you cook a potato, any kind of potato, and you chill it first, and then even if you reheated it after you chilled it, whether it was ice or just in the refrigerator, it actually, the resistant starch goes up. So basically the glycemic index of that potato goes down, which is a good thing. A good thing about having a lower glycemic index potato is that it raises your blood sugar slower, and then thus less insulin is needed to process it. So a potato is essentially a healthier version of itself if you chill it first. So that's true.
That's kind of the same. I mean, it's different, but the same result of eating greener bananas than overripe bananas.
Correct. So a greener banana has a lower glycemic index than a ripe banana. Doesn't mean you can't eat ripe bananas. It's just
well, like I can't believe I forgot her name. Stick out for Medford. She saves her old bananas and makes smoothies with them. And then we know we're supposed to drink our smoothies over 20 or 30 minutes to slow down the sugar absorption. So this is all pretty fascinating stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, Ken, I'd like to try to bust a myth that yes, you're technically correct. Starch is broken down into sugar, but when it's combined with its fiber, starch is really healthy. And so it's the free sugar that's been taken away from its fiber that you're trying to avoid. So try to, maintain that clarity in your mind. If you're eating the whole fruit, even though it's got sugar in it, it's got the fiber, and that reduces the ill effects. You take sugar cane and you break it down to white sugar, you've stripped away the fiber. That's the inflammatory problem. Same way with the, like stripping down wheat. You get white flour when you strip away the fiber and the other things. And so that's not so healthy. But I want you to focus your attention on the fact that carbohydrates are not the enemy. Starch is not the enemy. The enemy is processing. It's stripping away the fiber. So try to really get that clear in your brain.
I'll use it as an excuse to watch Jeff Novak again.
Okay.
It's not just carbs. I love him.
Very good. I like that. Keep repeating that to yourself because that will bust that myth.
It's not the
And I'll-
carb.
Yeah, and I'll be showing his snapshot when he talks about carbohydrates when I do my nutritional myths and other popular diets class in 2 weeks. That'll I'll show that little segment of Jeff Novick there.
Everybody should look forward to it because that guy's so animated. I just can't stop laughing.
Very good. So now we're lucky enough again to have our so important and celebrated third-year medical student with us, Lisa Chick, who I see you've kind of got your camera going. So give us a little talking to as to what's on your mind.
Hi everyone, nice to see you. I'm actually in New York this week for spring break, so it's well past my bedtime, but I wanted to join in and just say hi. We have 2 exciting book clubs happening next week. One is the regular one with some of you in there on Thursday, the 30th, and then we are starting one up at the medical school with the students. So our first meeting will be on the 29th. So everyone seems to be enjoying the books that they're reading. The students are reading The Craving Mind based off of their survey results. So I think it's going to be really fun.
Well, good for you for doing that. And we hope you thoroughly enjoy your travels there in New York.
Thank you.
Okay, Diane.
I've recently developed a fondness for this hulled barley here. Hulled barley. And it mentions on the back that it should be soaked for 6 to 8 hours before you boil it. And I wonder if that's going to help reduce the glycemic index possibly, or if this is even got enough fiber to be healthy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you just doing the soak, doing whatever the instructions say to prepare it. It's what you got to do. It's that's how you can eat it. But that's a completely 100% whole grain. That's the kind of food that we're talking about eating. That's perfect.
Okay, I've been making it without soaking, and it seems to come out okay. But I think I'll do what they say and try and see how that tastes.
How long are you cooking it for?
Well, it's a 3-to-1 barley to water ratio, and I've been getting it so it boils down almost till there's no water. Takes about 30 to 40 minutes.
Are you doing it in pressure cooker or regular?
Just stovetop.
Stovetop. And it's not too hard?
No, it's actually nice. It has a little crunch to it and it's has nice flavor.
Great. Great. Thanks for sharing that.
Uh-huh.
Ken, you still have your hand up? You have another question? And if not,
I forgot to put it down, but I will say that I'm sure into trying new things that are healthy. And so I'm eating kamut now, and I do soak that overnight.
very good. All right. Who else? Anybody else? We got a group with a number of new people. And so maybe some of them may need a little convincing as to why they should come to another class. Maybe not. Any reason that some of you have returned for another class on your schedule? And you may want to share that with the group, or maybe the new members want to unmute and speak up a little bit. They might have a question. You don't have to be shy.
Dolly
Next week's-
here.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's
Sorry.
okay. Dolly, go ahead. You have your hand up.
Well, I've been doing this for a year, Hank and I, and we're back because we just can't get enough. You're our social life. But it's, even starting over again like we did last year, there's still some things that I missed and I didn't get in my notes, and I was just happy to go back and get those again. Yeah.
Well, we're always happy to see you in class. Keep coming.
Just want to make sure that the church where that movie is going to be in a couple of weeks has got wheelchair access. It looks like they have a handicap parking spot.
Yeah, definitely easy wheelchair access there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that Doug and I have been coming and watching class as much as we can for the last probably 15 months or so. And I just, there's the repetition of the information, we need to have that repeatedly over and over again. Every time we learn something new, even though, you think if you read the title of the lesson, you think, oh, I've read something on that. I watched a video on that. And, you feel like I've been doing this for 2 years, 2.5 years, I know it all. Well, I don't know it all. And I need encouragement and coming back and just the opportunity to ask questions and get the reinforcement and more in-depth information to be sure that things are clarified. So this class has been a lifeline for us. So we really appreciate it.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
That's why we do the classes. Edward.
So I like blueberries. I really like blueberries. But so one of us in the family, this one is more of a fan of mangoes. Is there a limit to how much mango I should be eating? Because it is really sugary.
No, in fact, if you're familiar with Cyrus and Robbie, the Mastering Diabetes authors, that they both have type 1 diabetes, and their favorite fruit, both of them, is mangoes. So they eat. I think Cyrus was trying to break a record for how many mangoes he could eat, but well, all I think we'd say about that is, eating too many of one particular food is a lost opportunity to eat a variety of other healthy foods, and so you don't want to go too crazy. But yeah, you can eat essentially as many mangoes as you'd like.
Are you saying that the mangoes are not bad even though they are sweet?
No, because they're packed with water. Most of the weight is water and fiber. So there's sugar in it, but it's like the way it breaks down in your body is not the same as drinking juice or eating jelly beans or actual sugar, which jelly beans by weight is mostly sugar, whereas mango flavored jelly beans would be mostly sugar by weight, but a real mango is mostly fiber and water. And so it's a completely different in your body, completely different than a processed food.
Sure. The reason I ask is my wife loves mangoes, But I said, no, let's go for blueberries rather than mangoes because of the, is that?
No, you can eat I'd say eat a variety, eat the blueberries too. You don't want to just eat too much of one particular food just because, like I said, it's a lot. You want to eat the colors of the rainbow kind of thing, whether it's vegetables or fruits. You want to eat a
And
wide variety.
Yeah, between apples and bananas and mangoes and blueberries, we're okay. And oranges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you also want to make sure, like Gregor's Daily doesn't, he says 1 serving of berries a day, any kind of berry, and then 3 other servings of fruit. So, serving is a half a cup. So you're right, blueberries, if you only had 1 fruit to pick, I would choose blueberries or cherries or grapes or something like that. But if you are eating a variety, those mangoes are great.
Yeah, we have lots of raspberries in our yard. So we have blueberries, some, but mostly raspberries and blackberries.
Those are wonderful choices also, aside from blueberries. So before all of you go, I have we're going to get to you, Evie, in just a minute. I just want to give one more plug. We have so many new members tonight. Some of you need some extra support, and our 3rd-year medical student has been providing support for over a couple of years. Lisa Chick, she has her information in the chat room. If you just need some one-on-one counseling, feel free to get in touch with her. It's no cost, it's good support, and others have given rave reviews to me about the help she's given them. So just put that in your thought process as you move forward. Evie.
Yes, question for you. I don't know if people are familiar with dragon fruit, the beverage. Oh, it's not showing up very well. But anyway, last year, Starbucks came out with it and it's a delicious drink, but I don't want to get it from Starbucks because they add a lot of things to it. Costco now sells dragon fruit liquid. It's a beverage. It's a beverage drink. And it says on the title of it, gut health and immunity superfood boost. And so it has, for 8 ounces, it has 50 calories. There's no fat, no cholesterol, no sodium. There's 13 grams of carb, 3 grams of dietary fiber, and total sugar is 7, no protein. Is that to drink, if I drink like half and half, if I do half water, half dragon fruit, because I know we're not supposed to drink juices. We're supposed to, stick with water, and the juice is a lot more concentrated. But if I had that diluted, does that seem like a reasonable beverage?
3 grams of fiber with what? 11 carbs?
It had 13 grams of total carbs.
Yeah, so that seems reasonable, doesn't it? I don't know. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, if you diluted it, I guess it's probably all right. If you were somebody that's trying to lose weight, or you have sugar issues, or you have diabetes, you might want to stay away from it, but just drink the water, because you're better off chewing your food, chewing and eating food and then drinking any juice. But for lots of those issues, but otherwise sounds like for you, it's okay.
I would agree with that.
Okay, there's a lot of hype about, gut health and immunity and all of that, and all these beverages, they put all of that on it. Is that a bunch of phooey?
It is a bunch of hype. And how much phooey it is, I don't know. It may be a little, it may be a lot.
Okay. All right, thanks, guys.
The golden rule is, if you're eating foods that as they're grown in nature and drinking fluids as they come in nature, you can't go wrong if they're plants.
And the plants themselves have all the good microbes on them already, so you're gonna and then those are the fiber feeders, so just by eating a whole food plant-based diet, you're gonna be getting all the good bacteria in your colon and all that, so you're getting the good prebiotics and the probiotics and the postbiotics and all the long chain, short chain fatty acids like butyrate and all those things. just a reminder, watching the classes on GI health and the magic of fiber that we had last year, we'll have again coming up in a few months. We'll touch on those issues.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And you're welcome. And one of exception to the rule of all fruits and vegetables and plants are great. Coconut has a bit too much saturated fat, so be careful of that one. Okay, Dorothea. Go ahead and unmute.
Is there a difference between eating like a handful of blueberries raw versus putting them in a smoothie?
No, other than the sugar gets a little separated when you put them in a smoothie. And so it gets absorbed more quickly. You want to sip it slowly. Eating the whole berry is probably the healthiest choice, but if the way you want to get your blueberries in a smoothie, just sip it over 20 minutes to a half hour, and you'll be fine.
And what about the fiber? Does it change the fiber content?
It strips away the sugar a little bit from the fiber, but you still have the same fiber content, so you're okay in that respect.
Thank you.
It's where if you're juicing, that's where you lose the fiber. So that's why a smoothie would be better than juicing fruits and vegetables, because you're losing all the fiber when you're juicing them. But if it's smoothie, you're still consuming the fiber.
Thank you.
All right. It looks like we've made our hour and a half again. Scott, it's been great fun. All the class members, thank you for your questions and contributions and trying to help your fellow classmates here. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. What's next week's session going to be?
An open forum.
Okay, so bring your questions and we'll go over any of the issues that you want to discuss. It's been
good.
Great fun.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good night.
Good night,
Good week,
everyone.
everybody.
Good night.
Good night.